This podcast is sponsored by Murgitroyd, intellectual property attorneys. For more information on today's guest and our company, visit murgitroyd.com/podcasts.
Hello and welcome to the 6th season of Murgitroyd's Innovation Talks podcasts. We're delighted you have joined us. If you have any questions, you can email us at innovation.talks@murgitroyd.com or contact us via Twitter @Murgitroyd. And please remember to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. So let's go straight into today's podcast.
Hello, my name is Catherine Bonner. I'm Director Patents at Murgitroyd Southampton office, and we're here today to talk about Patent Box. I'm welcoming here today Lisa Whitbread. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Catherine. Good to speak to you. Thanks for the invitation to take part in the podcast.
Delighted to be speaking with you today, Lisa. Lisa is Director at PKF Francis Clark, Chartered Accountants and Business Advisors, and so is very well placed to be speaking to me today about Patent Box. Let's jump right into the topic, Lisa.
Yeah, of course. So, as you mentioned, Catherine, I'm a Director here at PKF Francis Clark. And as part of my role, I assist corporate clients with varying matters from corporate reconstructions, transactions and share schemes, going right through to research and development tax relief claims and, of course, patent box claims. So at PKF, we have an innovations tax team, which I'm part of. So I'm involved in a number of patent box claims across the firm. I've been involved with Patent Box since it was introduced back on 1st of April 2013.
Gosh, that's quite a long while ago now. I remember when this came in and we were very, very excited about it, and time flies and it's been through a number of iterations. So I'm pleased that you've been there since it very first started. That's really great.
Definitely. Time flies when you're having fun in tax. So since its introduction, I've worked with a number of clients together with patent attorneys such as yourselves in helping clients to ensure that their IP is not only protected, but they're able to benefit from the patent box relief. And where clients can qualify for this, the relief provides them with an effective 10% rate of corporation tax on their profits from the sale of patented products. And considering the corporation tax rate is currently 19%, this can be a significant saving.
That sounds like a really big saving, and particularly if that's for the products that they're able to sell, which would be additional sales, hopefully through protecting the innovation with the patents on the products, and then using this patent box as well to boost everything that's positive about the sale and shifting of the goods.
Definitely.
So that would be on patented products, yes? The patent must be granted.
Yes, that's correct. So to claim the relief, a patent must be granted, except for you can start counting and calculating the relief that's due from the date that you apply for the patent. So during the patent pending period, you can start calculating any relief that may be due that you can then claim once it's granted. Two key beneficial areas in respect of Patent Box are firstly that it's the company's worldwide sales of patented products that qualify for relief. So it's not just their UK sales, which is a really important point. But also, secondly, companies can also benefit as a product might only include a small patented part, but it's actually the sale of the whole product that qualifies for the relief and not just the sale of the small patented part. So it's quite a key point that it's the sale of the whole and it's worldwide sales as well, not just UK sales. And also, one point to note when we're looking at qualifying patents for the purposes of relief is that patents can only qualify if they are granted by the UK Intellectual Property Office, the European Patent Office, or specified EEA countries.
So that's the EEA European Economic Area countries, yes?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
So it does exclude any patents that are granted in the US, France, Spain, Italy, and Japan. In assisting clients with patent box relief claims, we work with patent attorneys such as yourself to help the client protect their IP. We can review existing patents to check their qualifying status for the relief, and then we assist in calculating the relief that is available. Unfortunately, HMRC do like to put a complex calculation in place to obtain the relief, But we can help clients work through this to determine the amount of tax savings that are available to them.
Yeah, I think those are complex issues, both the IP portfolio and the obtaining of the patent, and then that calculation working alongside businesses, I think is really important in that. So
Definitely.
people don't shy away from claiming the relief that is available to them. We have worked on a number of cases together, and that's always been really exciting to work on something that's slightly outside what I normally do as a patent attorney on a day-to-day basis, the drafting and filing of patent applications. So thank you for that rundown, Lisa. I think we can agree that it's a really, really useful tool. Is it used very much? Is everyone aware of Patent Box?
I would say it very much depends. There are some people that do like to protect their IP for commercial purposes, and in that case, it can be beneficial to them to claim as well. But I don't think it's as widely known and used as it should be. So there's plenty of people out there with patents that may not be using it. And there are clients out there that look to seek the relief. So they will purposely look for something that they can patent for the purposes of achieving the Patent Box relief. So it's very much varied.
Just the time for a podcast on the topic then, if we're trying to spread the word.
Definitely.
I think from my understanding, there was a specific rule change in 2016. So the whole scheme started in 2013 and then a rule change came in 2016. Could you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Yes, of course, Catherine. So the rules did change from 30th of June 2016 to bring the rules in line with recommendations from the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development Forum on Harmful Tax Practices. Bit of a mouthful there. The new rules look to ensure that there's a connection between the UK entity that holds the patent and then where the research and development activities are being carried out, as the previous rules brought in 2013 didn't have this requirement. So this meant that the UK entity could be claiming the Patent Box relief whilst the research and development work was carried out anywhere in the world by a non-UK entity. So to rectify this, the calculation for the Patent Box was kept the same, albeit there was an additional stage added to introduce an additional formula which restricts the company's Patent Box relief, where the company claiming the Patent Box is outsourcing its research and development work to other group companies.
So you have to keep things all together to claim the maximum amount of relief. And if they are separated out, with R&D being somewhere else in a different part of the group, then there is a reduction in the relief. Is that correct?
Exactly. The relief in some instances can completely be reduced to nil. So it's really important to get the structure of the group right now in relation to the new rules.
That's quite interesting because a lot of times when I'm dealing with businesses with a large IP portfolio, something that sometimes comes up during a restructuring discussion, or if there's a new direction for the brand or a new product range, there is a discussion sometimes about where the IP should be held, whether it should be with the main company or perhaps just a separate IP holding company should be formed. And that's a very interesting point, that really in those restructuring discussions, if the business wishes to take advantage of the Patent Box tax relief, that needs to come into the discussions as well to ensure that any formula that is applied will still result in there being some relief for the sale of the patented products. Otherwise, you could obliterate all of that, couldn't you?
Yes, exactly. Getting the structure of the group is key in relation to the new rules.
So the change that was brought in on the 30th of June 2016, what would happen then if a company had already elected into Patent Box relief before that date?
Yeah, so any company that had already elected into Patent Box relief with existing IP could continue under the old rules up until 30th of June 2021. So it's only new entrants to the scheme from June 2016 that have to apply the additional calculation, albeit that everyone will need to apply these from June 2021. The new rules affect a number of companies, especially groups that are set up in such a way to protect their IP in one company, separate R&D in another company, and have separate trading subsidiaries.
And this deadline is soon, isn't it?
It is. So it's important for clients that will be potentially coming into the new regime from June 2021 to consider their structuring and look at, if they're claiming Patent Box at the moment, how these new rules will affect them.
And not everybody uses or takes advantage of Patent Box for their own reasons. So I suppose that the restructuring conversations you may be having with some of the businesses you work with, I suppose Patent Box sometimes features and sometimes doesn't.
Exactly. Patent Box will sometimes feature. We always like to make our clients aware that Patent Box is available, but sometimes clients wish to take into account commercial considerations, and these outweigh any potential tax benefit. For example, they do really want to keep their IP separate from the main trading company, the main research and development company. So commercial considerations should always be taken into account and not let the tax relief guide them if they really want to protect something.
Yeah, thank you for that, Lisa. That's really, really good information. Would you have a recent case study, perhaps, to share?
Yes, I've actually got a couple of great client examples in maximising the Patent Box relief. So the first client example, they developed a new electronic unit to be used in a specific large-scale air conditioning unit. So we spoke to the client and they were in the process of working with their patent attorneys to ensure that the patent was applied for in the quickest and most efficient way possible. And in discussing that item with the client, we explained that the sale of the whole air conditioning unit would now qualify for the Patent Box because the electronic unit was a key component of the whole product. And as we discussed it further, it became apparent that the client could actually undertake further research and development to enable that patented electronic unit to be fitted in all the models of their air conditioners, which then meant that the sale of the majority of their products would qualify for Patent Box relief, as more than one line of product would be sold which include the patented item.
That's a really great use of that one electronic unit, yes.
Definitely, it really did maximise their Patent Box relief claim, also increase their research and development tax claim because they had to do more research and development work in developing that same unit to work with their other air conditioners. So they really did benefit. And then moving on to the second example that I've got, this just highlights that it's not actually just products that qualify for Patent Box. I attended a meeting with one of our clients together with the patent attorney, and we had a bit of a brainstorming session on products that they could patent because this client had a number of products in development and they were looking for one that they could patent to make use of Patent Box relief. It wasn't necessarily a protection point, but they recognised that they could make use of Patent Box relief. So we were brainstorming all the products that they were potentially in the process of developing, and as we discussed it further, it turned out that the majority of products they manufactured all went through a certain process, and they all had to go through this process. And what they were actually able to do in discussions with their patent attorney is to patent that process. And therefore, as the majority of their products go through that process, they were actually able to calculate that almost 95% of their total turnover they receive could be included in the Patent Box calculation, thus providing a large corporation tax saving.
That's really great for them. That's absolutely brilliant. And such a good opportunity to collaborate and to come out with the best result for the business.
Yeah, exactly. It's always good to remember that it's not just products that can qualify for Patent Box, but as you mentioned, I mean, these brainstorming sessions are actually quite good, and sometimes having both patent attorney and tax advisor there together can really help companies.
Yes, yeah, I've had some experience for small mechanical parts that we have obtained patent protection for, and then those being included a little bit similar to how you have described for the air conditioning units. The small mechanical part is then able to be fitted to very many products, and all of those products are then able to be included in that Patent Box tax relief claim. So yes, we have a lot of overlap there with how businesses that we work with have used the Patent Box to their benefit. One thing to mention, there are various ways that we can accelerate the application and prosecution process of a patent. If a business is particularly interested in utilising this Patent Box tax relief, we need to whiz that patent application all the way through to grant. And it can take 1 to 2 years, but that's still a lot quicker than the standard time that can take somewhere between 4 to 5 years to get a patent to grant. So it's really good to work alongside the tax advisor and your patent attorney in this type of situation. I suppose then I should ask for advice from you, Lisa. Can I have perhaps your top 3 tips for companies that might be interested in the Patent Box?
So, top 3 tips. Firstly, I would say that companies should definitely either speak to their current advisors or myself to have an initial chat around the products that they currently sell that hold patents to ensure that they're maximising the relief that they're currently getting, and also ensuring that they are making a claim where they could qualify for the relief. Secondly, I'd recommend reviewing their current IP rights and whether current or future products or processes could be patented in coordination with patent attorneys such as yourselves.
Yes, I'm always happy to look at an IP portfolio or conduct a review to see where people are, an IP audit, something like that. Yes. And number 3.
And number 3, finally, I'd recommend reviewing the group to ensure that the structure that you currently have in place does enable you to qualify for Patent Box, and that the profits you are anticipating will also generate a tax saving, because one point to consider is at what stage do you actually elect into Patent Box, because losses can be restricted once you're elected in, and once you're in, if you want to get out, you're then restricted from going back in for a number of years. But we can help companies with reviewing that.
Absolutely sounds like your area of expertise, Lisa. There's definitely to give you a call, I would do on that one. So this Patent Box that we've talked about so far is a UK scheme.
Yes.
UK only. But are there other Patent Box schemes in operation in some other European countries? At Murgitroyd here, I do know that we were involved in setting up the Italian version of the Patent Box scheme through our Milan office. Do you have an idea of other schemes currently in place?
Yes, so there are schemes available elsewhere around the world, and some of them can be quite beneficial. So I understand that France brought in a scheme in 2019 with a 10% reduced rate, and Italy have a scheme in place which grants a 50% exemption from corporate income taxes. But as part of the PKF network, we work with other PKF members around the world who advise on the relevant countries' specific schemes, and therefore we can liaise with them and clients to ensure that they're maximising the benefits they receive from the country in which they're taxable.
That sounds really useful to have that broad view there. Thank you, Lisa. That's been very interesting. I wondered if you could provide some comment as to whether there have been any changes now. We are after the end of the transition period. We're after Brexit. And has there been any change?
So no changes have been made to Patent Box relief post-Brexit. However, the most important change will be that the old rules, if you are still claiming under the old Patent Box relief rules, will change for you from 30th of June 2021 in line with the new rules that came in 2016. So it's really important to look at those changes if they apply to you.
Yes, absolutely. The clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. Thank you, Lisa. It's been a really interesting discussion and a great overview of the Patent Box scheme in the UK. I've learned a lot, and I think we have further areas where we can work together with our clients and businesses that we assist, and some really good tips to bear in mind. So thank you for your time and for sharing your expertise with us today.
Thank you, Catherine. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for your time today. We hope you found today's podcast valuable. And remember to subscribe so you don't miss any of our future episodes. So until the next time, goodbye.
Our business is founded on trust and collaboration. The subjects we choose for our podcasts are topical and informative. We are always looking for suggestions for new topics for discussion, so if there's an area of IP that you're keen to understand better, please drop us a line at innovation.talks@murgitroyd.com.